As an introvert, I honestly wish that stories would have been around when I was trying to do live video back in 2016. It would have taken so much stress off of me to create something that was around 15 seconds that would disappear in 24 hours. Like, that's an introvert's dream, right? So, I wanted to talk a little bit about what using stories looks like. Obviously, we have stories in Instagram and Facebook at the time of this recording. LinkedIn did away with theirs. Pinterest has idea pins, but I think they're used a little bit differently. And so Instagram and Facebook are the two big platforms that are using stories the most. And although you typically will not get the engagement on a story that you would get on a newsfeed post, there is a method to the madness, so to speak, and a reason to use stories to nurture the audience that you already have. You're typically not going to be found or be searchable when it comes to creating a story, but you can nurture the audience you already have. And that's what we want to do. We want to get them into the messenger, right, of each platform. We want to get them answering questions, feeling like it's a conversation between just us and them so that they can tell us how they're feeling. They can submit like their answer to a poll. They can answer questions. They can give us feedback and all of those things, which can give us the opportunity to build that deeper relationship with them versus just on a comment on a newsfeed post. So stories are great for nurturing. They're great for feedback. They're great for behind the scenes, right? Like doing behind the scenes content. They're great for sharing your heart, sharing your hot mess. Like I remember, I think I busted like a whole gallon of milk in the floor. I also think I've busted a whole thing of laundry detergent. And I remember putting those into stories like, this is just a mess, right? Or when the dog decides to dumpster dive, right? Those are like great behind the scenes posts that get people chuckling and get them interested to see what your life is really like, right? It's not all the glam or whatever you show on your normal news feed. It's great because we can also put photos in stories. We can do small video clips in stories, even though we can do multiple of them. And then we can also do things like polls and engagement opportunities inside of stories. I want to give you some stats that I found that I thought was really interesting. And major brands have doubled their usage on Instagram in stories. So that right there tells you that they are trying to create a more community feel with their audience, right? Posting up to 5 stories per day ensures a retention rate of over 70%. That's pretty cool, right? Instagram users are more likely to tap forward sooner for image stories. And they exit faster from video stories, especially if there are more than 3. So if you're using stories, if you've ever seen at the top where there's like these little teeny lines and they're like, look like dashes because people just will not stop talking. They want to create a whole book. Like that type of information may need to be somewhere else or may need to be just spaced out with like a poll or a photo or something. Just give them time to breathe, because when they see that real long opportunity of just you on video, they may be exhausted. They may be like, this looks really like a lot. I don't want to sit here and watch all of this, which is the same thing in live video. The reason so many people watch my live videos is because I keep them 5 to 7 minutes, right? It's really easy to rewatch something that's 5 to 7 minutes. If you're looking at something that looks daunting, like 10, 15, 20 minutes, people just don't have time for that, depending on the industry you're in. But my audience doesn't have time for that. Business owners, do we have time for that? Nope, we do not. So let's think about some other Instagram stories are going to have, I'm reading these stats that I just got here. Instagram stories are going to have a lower reach compared to the newsfeed. But again, the newsfeed is not as great as nurturing. You don't typically jump right in the DMs from the newsfeed, where if someone, let's say you put out a poll, and I'm a big proponent of polls on Instagram. Honestly, I believe they're better than the link click. Everybody used to want the swipe up, and now everybody has the link click. So it's great, right? But everybody used to want the swipe up. I'm like, listen, the swipe up is not that cool. I know y'all think you want the swipe up, but to be honest with you, if you can get people engaged in a conversation and give them the opportunity to answer a poll or ask you a question or something like that, you're going to get to a space where you can get them that link quicker than you are just waiting on somebody to just click the link and go there. Because most of the time that does not happen. So I want you engaging, building that relationship before you just shoot the link at them. Nurture them, ask them questions, be more interested than interesting. There are so many opportunities to deepen that relationship on Instagram and Facebook stories if we just take the opportunity to do so. So tell me in the comments, what kind of stories do you love seeing? What kind of stories do you love creating for your audience? And do you think you could be more consistent on stories to reach and build and nurture those relationships with the audience that you already have?